Hello, and welcome to another episode of Oh No, Disney Adults, the podcast where we talk to people as weird as me about their love for Disney, the parks, the movies, and everything. And I'm so happy to welcome my guest this particular episode. It's Sophie from Most Magical Guides. How are you?
Hi, I'm so good. It's so lovely to be chatting to you.
This is wonderful. This is it's really nice to actually talk to you in person. We've exchanged a few sort of messages on the gram and everything, but it's really nice to get you on because you're, like I said, you're weird like me. You're a Disney adult. You're in the parks all the time. You have managed to monetize it to a point as well now with like you've got your travel guide business and everything else, which is. That's the dream, right? Is being able to turn talking about Disney into coins in the piggy bank. That's fantastic. So, I just wanted to talk your ear off about stuff, really. I will say, and I think this is when I first reached out to message you, your video on YouTube about booking dining reservations was invaluable to me last year. Like I used that and just
Amazing.
it's such a good system and it was very easy to follow and just, it bang, 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 got it all sorted. So, I mean,
Yes,
we'll
so
plug
good to
things.
hear.
Yeah, we'll plug things right off the bat. You need to be going and checking out Sophie's videos because she has a lot of really useful information.
That's
So
wonderful. Thank you so much.
yeah, no, absolutely. I think it sometimes because I've only been. This will be the third time I've been to Disney World this year, Florida, and I think.
Amazing.
Yeah, right. It's so good. It's so nice that we've sort of done. I did nearly 40 years, and now I'm doing 3 years in a row. Like so I'm obviously making up for lost time
I love that. It's so good.
there. Yeah, and we did that thing that
I always say it starts as a once in a lifetime trip and ends up as a very expensive hobby.
This exactly. The mistake I made was leaving my wife alone at a DVC booth on our first day in Magic Kingdom, and the rest was history. One meeting at Bay Lake Tower later, and here we are. So I assume you must have a lot of trips under your belt at this point. Like, when did you first go? What's kind of your beginnings, your origin story?
Yes. Well, it makes me feel really old because I actually went to Disneyland Paris the year it opened.
Wow.
So when they were like 5 years ago having the 30th anniversary, and I was like, oh no. I remember being here when it opened. I wasn't there exactly when it opened, but it was wild. And I also had the most like 90s experience of all time because Euro Disney, it's just opened. It's amazing.
Right.
And then we're staying at a hotel, to go to the swimming pool. Couldn't go in the swimming pool. It was closed because Michael Jackson was there. And I was like, this is unbelievable.
Well,
it's the most
I hate it when that happens. Yeah. I take my daughter to the local leisure centre, and every few weeks it's something like that. So yeah. But no, that's nuts. Michael Jackson's there, so you can't use the swimming pool.
Bonkers. Yeah,
that's
exactly
crazy.
That. And then I went to Disney World the following year with family, and it's actually really nice because we've got like a little VHS of that trip, and I made it so that I could actually put it on my laptop and watch it, and it's so fun to see how different the parks were back then, all the things that like closed down. That was lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked about, so we've little sidebar, we've both been guests on the most magical podcast on earth, which is Andy's podcast. Andy's been on here, and I talked to him a little bit about how I had this like stolen nostalgia from a friend. So we were far too poor to be going to Disney World or Disney Paris as kids, but I had one of my best friends would go to Florida every couple of years, and his dad would take the big £25, slot an entire VHS thing into it, and I would go around to their house and then just not play with him because I'd want to sit and watch the videos of them, going to like Captain EO and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. So like those time capsules I think are so wonderful, and you see them getting digitized and put up on YouTube now. And it's great. And it's so nice to kind of see how the parks were and look at how they've changed, and obviously just point and laugh at haircuts. That's always a good time. To the point, right? To the point that I now, and this is combining two of my absolute loves because I'm a VHS collector. I collect videotapes, but I've started collecting the old promotional tapes and things as well. So I've got like,
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's great. I got one last week, which was The Magic of Walt Disney World at Christmas, and it was 1988, I think. So you only had the two parks, and oh my goodness, it was just so fun to go back and watch those.
So good. So
Do,
good.
have you
I
done?
remember being
Yeah.
as a kid,
No,
when
no.
my grandparents had bought the VHS, because Disney used to do these weird videos. So it was like Robinson Crusoe, Swiss Family
Uh-huh.
Robinson, and they'd done their own versions. It was like live action. So I had like loads of them as a kid, but I was obsessed with the sing-along VHSs.
Yes. Yeah.
And I actually would get up in the morning, go downstairs and just watch them day after day after day. And like you say, I'm so glad now that they're on YouTube so you can rewatch them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a remaster and throwing those on Disney Plus would be a really good idea if
The
anybody's listening,
dream.
Josh or anyone. I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure he does
Yeah,
listen.
exactly that.
Uh, but I think and that's a big part of what I think grown-ups love about going back to Disney is it's everyone says escapism, which is very true, but I think even if you don't have direct memories of Walt Disney World as a kid, it's that permission to be a kid again a little bit, and harken back
Yes,
to that kind of
100%.
feeling. Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
exactly that. Because you don't really ever get the chance to switch off your adult brain and not worry about like bills and work and stuff like that. But when you go to Disney, you really do. Like nothing else exists. And just that like sense of brain freedom and
Yeah,
not being
yeah,
bogged down is huge.
absolutely. And I think if you've sort of by the very nature of it, you've had to do a lot of your planning, your grown up thinking for the holiday beforehand as well. So,
Yes.
if you've done it right in quotation marks, then you've taken the holiday stress out of it as well. So all you are doing is just enjoying it all and
So
soaking
true.
it all in and everything else. So that's really, really great as well. I think,
Yes.
they've really streamlined that and let people get in there. So yeah, so I mean, we were
100%.
talking about like early Disneyest memories and things like that. So you did Paris first, you did Florida the year after that. Were your family kind of big
Yes.
into Disney before you were around? Is this like a thing that they'd done Florida trips and stuff, or was it having a family made them kind of want to go along?
It's interesting because, like, my grandparents were big travelers. They used to cruise a lot, and
Okay.
interestingly, they used to videotape everything. So I was like, oh my god, they were like the original vloggers of the family. But they actually did take my dad and my uncle to Disney World when they were kids, but that was
Right.
like the one and only trip. And then
Sure.
I think once Disneyland Paris opened and it was more accessible for us in Europe, it was like, oh, let's try it. And then it's, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's my wife continually points to. So the very first time I went was my 31st birthday, and she took us and sort of arranged it as
Same.
a surprise. And there's a photo of me in Cafe Mickey with my ice cream birthday cake, which we had to hand out to everybody because it was an ice cream birthday cake. And Mickey Mouse has come and sat next to me, and she loves
Oh,
to
the dream.
she loves to get this photo out, and I'll put it up on the video, but she loves to get this photo out and go, he looks happier here than he does in any of our wedding photos. I'm pretty sure he and it's a tough one to refute, if I'm honest. Like, the wedding was phenomenal. I had a wonderful time, but I wasn't sitting next to Mickey Mouse eating ice cream cake at any point during that day. So
That's the
what
thing.
can I say?
It's so true.
Right?
It's just the thing, isn't it? Everyone's so happy. It's just the best thing ever.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's infectious, and you're feeding off the vibes of everyone else having this wonderful time, and then the cast members are also buoyant and energetic and everything else. It's really, really lovely, and I think that tells a lot about why people constantly spend time finding the money to justify going back again and again and again. Have you got a favorite Disney memory like that out of like all of your myriad trips? Is there something in particular that sticks out?
Do you know what? Weirdly, I think the last trip I went on to Disney World, I had what I think is like the most perfect day I've ever had in a Disney park. And
Wow.
it was my very first day of the trip. I walked into Epcot and there was like no one around. Mickey was walking on his own through the park, which I've never seen. And then he just came up to me and hugged me and like welcomed me into the park. And I was like, oh my god, I
Oh
can't
my
believe
goodness.
this. Which was so good. And it's the first thing that
Yeah.
happened on the trip. It was so good. And then all of the
Wow.
rides had no queues. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is incredible. And then that evening, I was like, oh, I'll hop over to Magic Kingdom. Again, basically no queues. Walked out of Haunted Mansion. The fireworks are happening, and I love watching them from behind the castle. So I got to have that
Right.
experience.
Yeah.
Walked to Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, 20-minute wait. And
My.
then I carried around the park, got to Tron. It was like 2 minutes to when it was closing. And I thought,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I'll chance it.
Yeah.
85-minute queue, actually 25-minute queue, and
Oh
then
my
ended my night
gosh.
on Tron, and I was like, I can't believe this. Everything was just perfection.
Wow. So it's almost like Mickey just kind of went, right, everybody, we're having Sophie's day today. So if you could all just kind of clear out the way a little bit. Today's about her. We need to make sure that we've chosen her for the day. That's magical. I mean, that's the best, you know.
It's unreal, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And when you get surprised by those wait times, because I often say Disney World in particular, I think they overclock a little bit. They say it's going to be X amount of wait time. 9 times out of 10, I mean, bear in mind, I've only ever really been in off season, but 9 times out of 10 when I've been there, it's always been a little less. And sometimes if you go at the right time, it is a lot less. So yeah, like it can be
true.
And it just lifts your mood because you've prepared yourself to wait that amount of time.
And that's the thing, like, because I'm obsessed with Tron. It's a bit of a problem. I watch it on YouTube like multiple times a week. I've got to calm down. But I was on the People Mover and I kept looking and I was like, that queue is not outside the building. So once it's outside the building, it's about 45-minute wait.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, that's definitely not 85-minute wait.
No.
So I was like, right, let's try this.
What's your ceiling? What's your ceiling? What's the roof on Tron? How long are you waiting?
This is the thing. I probably could do about 45 minutes, but I am someone who is very impatient. I find queuing such a stress. So I'm a big multi-pass person. Or for Tron, I'll even do single pass. But now I'm like, last ride of the night when they have the super short queue is the one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I've done, a tip of mine is going to, if you're park hopping, going to Animal Kingdom at the end of the day and Pandora from 4 p.m. onwards, because a lot of the other stuff is like the shows have stopped and Kilimanjaro's stopping. The park really empties out at that point. And, you know, I've done just waiting in the regular queue, Pandora in like under 20 minutes. And it's wonderful,
isn't it?
Because that's a lovely queue to be in as well, because there's so much, but you're not idling in it for a particularly long time. You're sort of wandering through and you know, it's perfect. And you feel like you've sort of beat the system a little bit as well. So that's always great.
Exactly. That's the thing. The one thing I haven't done that I'm desperate to do is every single trip, Pandora shuts too early for it to be dark. So I've never seen the bioluminescence. And I'm desperate to go in a time of year where I will actually get to see it. I am actually going back in January. So I've got everything crossed that the sun will set early and I'll finally get to see it.
Yeah, I don't know what time sunset is around then. Obviously it's chillier, but that would be great. They don't really do... It's since sort of the opening back up after COVID, I think they've not really done any of the later night stuff or the after hours events things there, have they, apart from cast member things?
It's so true.
And it does seem like a shame, because
it's a shame because it's such a beautiful thing.
A lot of effort and love has obviously gone into, you know, painting the floors and all the lighting and everything else, and they have that show on the tree, and they just kind of aren't doing it anymore. And I think it's an interesting one. And I try not to get too bogged down in like criticizing Disney, because this is a podcast about how much we love Disney. But every now and again, there's things where I go, would it be that much bother to just, you know, in the quieter months, just have it open that hour later for people? Just maybe, or even the after hours.
Dream, wouldn't it? Yes.
Yeah. Come on, Mickey, you love our money. You love our money. I'll give you $120 to go and stand in Pandora at night.
Exactly that. 1,000,000% that.
Right? So, I mean, it's whereas like, I think, you know, at Paris, I've not been to Paris since 2023. We went the year before we did Florida. And I found that the issue that I have there is that whilst the park stays open to a good time, like all the food places shut down and it starts to become kind of difficult to get things to eat. Right? I'm sure you've noticed this because you've been a lot more than me. And that's one that I can't quite wrap my head around either. Like you have to go out to the village if you want to get food. Weird.
Because it doesn't, like you say, it doesn't make sense financially either, because they're missing out on so many people because everyone needs to eat.
Yeah, exactly. The amount of people that would have dinner plans or even just snack as they go around the park. And I get there's a lot of cultural differences and things, but that one always struck me as kind of strange. You really have to plan ahead for that. Either bring food in or plan to leave early or eat later, or, you know, go back to your resort and eat there and everything else. Like, how do you navigate that usually? Because obviously you're there quite a lot.
Yeah, so I think because now I get into the habit of knowing which restaurants will shut early, I will try and go to those ones maybe at lunch and then pick at dinner, where are we going to eat that's going to be open. But like you said, it's a nightmare because I feel like most people wouldn't naturally think you've got to look up opening hours of restaurants when you're going
No.
on holiday. You wouldn't think that.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. I think that's like a big hurdle. So that would be the dream if they were like, let's open things later. Because even stuff like, obviously they have to shut Fantasyland a bit early for the fireworks, but when the fireworks at like 11 p.m, they're still shutting the restaurants at like 5, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we could just open them a bit later, surely.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not prepping from 5 p.m. for the fireworks for the castle. Not
Exactly
at all.
that. It's
Yeah.
so true.
But yes, you would assume if it was like your first trip or you weren't a Disney nut that like as long as the park was open, places to eat would be open. But
Absolutely.
yeah, it is
Yes.
a strange one. So how many visits do you think you've got under your belt for Paris now? Because that's one that you seem to be in quite a
God.
bit. Do you know?
Yes. I don't actually know, which is a funny thing. I should really count it, but
No, I
it's
think it's
definitely like,
yeah.
yeah, I can't even remember because I'm quite lucky that because I've got like the annual pass now, or I used to visit like in the off season when you got really good hotel and ticket deals, so you go like a few times every year.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that's great. I think it
Yeah.
the plan for us would be sort of, this is our kind of long-term bucket list, but we would like to do Florida maybe twice a year and then do like a little tiddly Paris trip in between, I think, something like that.
That would be wonderful. That'd be so good.
Yeah, like that's the goal. I mean, we're already in a very privileged position getting to go annually, so there's no complaints there. But you always want a little bit more, don't you? You always want to just
That's the
get a
problem,
little bit
isn't it?
more than you're
Exactly
getting
that.
right now. To the point
Yes.
that a super long-term goal for us is potentially relocating to Florida if the wind blows in that
Oh, that would be
direction one day.
wonderful.
We took some time
Yes.
out of
Oh,
our trip
what the
last year.
dream.
Well, we went and looked at
Yeah.
apartments and things in Celebration. I don't know if you've ever I
Fantastic.
assume you've had a look around Celebration, but yeah, we actually went and viewed some houses there and kind of looked at some stuff in our
The dream.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so nice.
And it was funny because
It's
they were kind of going
wonderful.
the real estate agents were kind of going like, look, it's very nice here. You do know you'll get a lot more for your money if you go to somewhere like Winter Garden or somewhere like that. And we were kind of going, yeah, no, we're aware of that, but it's not Celebration, is it? It's not the Disney town. It's not
It's
got a
so
main
true.
street.
It's exactly that. Exactly. It's so true. And this is the thing. When
Yeah.
that happens, you're going to have to be prepared for everyone you've ever had any sort of brief encounter with in your entire life to be like, I'm going to come to Florida. Can I come visit?
Yeah. Yeah. Have you got a spare room for a couple of weeks? Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly that.
I mean, to be fair, I'll be in the parks all the time anyway, so you won't have to, you wouldn't even see me. So it's not really much of an
Yeah.
inconvenience to me. I
It's
don't know
so
about
true.
you. I am very much, and this is where me and my wife differ quite a lot. I'm very much drop me at Disney World and pick me up when it's time to go back to the airport. I have done a little bit of sightseeing and things around Orlando, and we've done Universal, which was fine. But my heart is very much there, whereas Victoria really loves just American lifestyle. She lived over there for a little bit when she was in her 20s, so I think she gets very kind of homesick for it, and so she likes to do mall shopping
Yes.
and thrifting and things like that. How about you? Do you like to spend much time outside of the parks, or are you like do you dig in
Yeah,
like a
I'm kind of like you. I do love, yeah,
yeah
I love the parks. Like I've done it before. I've been for 2 weeks, and I've maybe done a day in a mall, but the rest of the time is in Disney. I'm
yeah
like, this is the best. I'm
no,
trying to
this
get as
is all I
much out
need.
of this as I can.
Yeah
Yes, exactly
absolutely.
that. It's so true. And that's the thing, like, I do love visiting America. So I'm lucky I've been to like more than half of the states. When I was
Wow.
18, I did a 10,000 road trip. So it's like a country I love to travel.
Mm,
But if I'm in
yeah
Orlando, I'm like, I'm going to the theme parks.
yeah I mean yeah absolutely. I think yeah if you've seen a lot of it, it's sometimes nice to kind of dive into little bits, but like so I said we're only going for 2 weeks this time, and that's because last time we typically do a 3+ week trip just to kind of drag it out as much as we can. And when it's a 3+ week trip, if we're spending a day antiquing, I can kind of deal with that. But when it's a 2 week trip, I'm grumpy at the
Yeah,
mere
that's the thing,
suggestion
isn't
of
it?
going to, you know. So they're doing like Discovery Cove this year, and I'm like, well, you guys have fun on that day. I will be in Hollywood Studios, and I'll see you in the evening. Not that bothered,
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, no,
but
it's so
that's it.
true. And that's the thing. I think sometimes when you're only there for a short period of time, you sometimes end up like sacrificing things. So when I was there last time, I did just a week, which I'd never done
Mm,
before, but I was actually
okay,
surprised at how much you can do.
yeah,
But I was there in September. So if I'm there in September, I have to go to Halloween Horror Nights. So I knew I was going to do that one evening, and I was going to meet up with a friend, and then she was going to also then be meeting up with lots of other people. And I was like, oh, that sounds really nice. However, because I've only got one night at Halloween Horror Nights, it's like
Yeah.
a military precision operation to get
You've
all
got to
10
get it
houses
all
done
done.
before I get
Yeah.
exactly that. So I was like, okay, I hope you all have a lovely evening. If I bump into you, I'll come say hello. But I've got to go a march forward. I've got things I've got to get on with. So you just end up voicing like, I
I'm
can't see
sorry.
people. Don't talk. I've got a march.
Yeah, lovely to see you, but I need pizza fries, so catch up with you in a bit. I'm planning. I'm going to need to pick your brains because I'm actually planning on doing a Halloween Horror Nights for the first time.
Oh my god, the dream.
Never done it
Yes,
before.
they're incredible.
I'm really into my spooky stuff. There are two wolves inside me, Sophie.
Yes.
One of them is Disney, the other is spooky. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm
Yes.
I like you, I'm meeting up with some friends while I'm over there, but in terms of it's all relatively foreign to me. So like, do you have a particular plan of attack when you're doing your Halloween Horror Nights? If you know you're just doing one for the year, is there a way you go about it that's peak efficiency?
So it's one of those things where money goes out the window. And basically what I find really helpful is I will do Scream early. They keep changing the name, but it's basically you get to go in early, and then that cuts out that wait of everyone trying to rush in at the same time. And then I also get the Express Pass, and the Express Pass is worth its weight in gold. And if you have that Express Pass, you will literally get absolutely everything done in one night. And it's one of those things, like, it is pricey. I think one of the reasons it's pricey is because they don't sell lots of them, so the queues are much shorter. And it's just an enjoyable night because of it. Because otherwise, sometimes it's like 70-minute queue for one house. Now it's a 90-minute queue for the next house, 40-minute and you're just like, you're basically in the queue all night. But with the Express Pass, you're having the best time ever.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. I'd seen a vlog. I think it was the Pew 2, and he was talking about if you do the stay, if you can do the stay and Scream and the Express Pass, if you're clever about it and kind of start at the back of the park, he was saying like you can experience a lot of houses twice because you don't necessarily need to use your express on stuff and by the time you get to the front of the park, the people who've come in are at the back. And so I need to rewatch it, but that was like one that kind of stuck in my brain. But so you would say it's worth the cost, the value for Express Pass for that then?
100%. Yeah, and I did exactly that as well. I actually started at the back of the park, walked my way around. But the thing was, by the time I got to the front and did all 10 houses, I was literally dead. I was like, I can't go back. I can't walk going back.
Okay, right. So bear in mind that it's going to be heavy on the footsteps. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
It kind of did. Yes, you're going to have the best time. And it's like, I did all of the back. I did the show, which sadly isn't coming back this year, but I don't know if they'll do something instead because that would be pretty cool.
Okay.
So you've got like half of the house is done, and then you were at Mel's Diner, and like everyone was there. It was a proper vibe. Everyone was getting their chili fries and just recharging for the final 5 houses. It was amazing.
Yeah. Amazing. No, it's going to be really, really fun. And then I think the next day is when the girls are at Discovery Cove. So that means I get my lie-in because it ends quite late, right? It's like a 2 a.m. type job.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah. So I've got to power through on that one. And
so that's the perfect plan.
Yeah. So
I can't wait to see what you think because I'm obsessed with it and it's becoming a bit of a problem. Like, because I'm like, now I'm the same as you. It's like that's now becoming a massive part of my personality.
So how many Halloween?
I need to know what's going on.
How many years back have you been doing that for then?
So I've only been the past 2 years. I was meant to go in 2022, and then Hurricane Ian turned up on the night of my Halloween Horror Night. So obviously it was cancelled, and I was like, this is very rude. And also, Ian is not a strong enough name for a hurricane. Ian is too soft. I think of Ian. He doesn't look like he could blow anything over.
No.
They need a stronger name.
It's like a Hurricane Dave or you need
exactly.
No, I'm not intimidated enough by this. We had a hurricane.
Exactly that.
What did we have? Helene, I think it was in 2024, and it was scary. I mean, I don't know how many of the serious hurricanes you've been there for. I assume some because of the amount of time you've been for.
But Ian was the first one, so I was lucky.
But we were just Ian, and he was fine. We were driving into the park. And we were getting the first band of the hurricane, and it was strong winds and it was rain, but it wasn't any worse than, I would say, a day of bad British weather. And I think part of that is because you're central Orlando. A lot of it's dissipated as it's kind of gone over the coast and into the... So we were just kind of going, gosh, it's not that serious, is it really? And then our digital radio started to crackle, and like a UHF radio like warning signal came over the radio, going like, "We advise you all to seek shelter. Please be advised that there's dangers of flying vehicles and debris from houses." And I was like,
Oh
"Oh
my
no,
gosh.
that's a bit post-apocalyptic. That's a bit The Last of Us. It's getting a little bit
Yes.
real and scary now." But we persevered because
Yes.
we're silly British people and we don't listen to what people tell us to do. And it was, I'm not going to lie, a pretty great day in the park. We had 45 minutes when we arrived when it was slamming it down. Then we had about 6 hours of beautiful weather with no one in the park because they'd all battened down the hatches. And then we had like another hour of
Yes.
bad weather afterwards. So I'm not saying go to the park if it's a hurricane, but we did. And it was all right.
Yes. You were like, this is all good. Well, it's so interesting because I was in Universal because I'd done my Disney portion of my trip and I'd moved to Universal the day before, went into the park and I was eating some pizza fries and I could hear cast members talking saying, "Oh, we're shutting the park down. It's shutting down." And I was like, "Oh, I've got insider information." So then that night I went to City Walk. I'll get a proper meal because I knew we were going to be stuck in our hotel for a couple of days.
Sure.
And like you had a crazy like film experience where every single person's phone just started doing this massive alarm at the same time.
Yeah.
And everyone was like,
right.
"Oh my God, what's happening?" And then it was saying like, you need to seek shelter, you need to stay indoors, like there was a curfew, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is like being in a film."
So dramatic.
It's bonkers. Yes, exactly that. Because I think because we never have anything like that here, you're just like, "Oh, what's happening?"
No, yeah, and it's very cinematic in the way we had that that alert. We were headed to a supermarket, I think, and it was that someone had like abducted a child or something horrible like that, which is awful. But yeah, every single phone in the vicinity started to, and I mean, when you're married to someone with autism and you've got a child who's got autism, and this, I mean, it was terrifying. You know, it was really quite scary when all of that was going off. And I get why they do it, and it's an interesting system. But yeah, like you say, it just doesn't really happen over here. So it was quite the culture shock, I think.
Yeah, 100% that. And it was really interesting because, like you say, on the coasts is where the hurricane's obviously the worst. And Hurricane Ian was actually a really severe hurricane on the coast. It was 1 mile per hour, too slow to category 5.
Wow.
And it was incredibly slow moving, so it was really destructive. And it was wild kind of watching the news and like seeing that and thinking, that's coming here soon. But like you say, luckily with Orlando being central, it does kind of really dissipate and you're very lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously Disney World is designed for it as well, and it's like the best place to be apparently.
Absolutely.
You know, they really have you been stuck inside on property at any, like, were you on property when this was happening?
So I was staying at a Universal hotel, so I just switched. And they were amazing as well. So they had, the restaurants were still operating, like the staff moved in, basically they stayed the whole time, which was unbelievable. And then something that's also really nice that I enjoyed was that locals are given cheap rates if they need to. So say they were from the coast, they could come to Central Florida where it's safer, but they were allowed to bring dogs and cats. So in people's windows, you'd see their dogs and cats, and I was like, "Oh, this is lovely."
Yeah, that's really nice.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a nice kind of community spiritness about it, I think, just in terms of like
100%.
making sure everybody's safe. And their buildings are built to withstand all of that and everything else. It was interesting kind of the day after where you saw just kind of like palm fronds that had been blown over into the road and they were all kind of picking that stuff up. But other than that, it was generally business as usual. Everyone just kind of went, right, okay, back to it.
100%.
So did you vlog any of that?
That's the thing, I couldn't believe.
Yeah.
So yes, I did. And it was so interesting because like the buildings, obviously they're made to move a little bit, and I was quite high up. And like you'd hear the building creak and you're like, that's an interesting experience. But itself, like it was okay apart from that. And like you said, the next day there's loads of palm fronds. But I couldn't believe, I think the roads around Universal had like 6 foot of floodwater. And within half a day, all the water had gone, palm fronds gone. And I was like, in the UK, if we have 1 leaf on a train track, we don't have trains anymore.
No.
It was unbelievable.
No, the country just shuts down, and there was flooding earlier this year, and there's a roundabout about half a mile from our house that was inaccessible for I think nearly a fortnight because of I think maybe 8 inches of water, and it just this would not fly in Florida. They would be on it.
True, isn't it?
Yeah, bananas.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like done, sorted.
Sorted. Yeah, don't worry about it. We're all good here now. Back into the park. Keep spending your money.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So
So true.
you've been vlogging trips and things for a while now. What was kind of the impetus for you to get into doing that? What made you kind of go, do you know what, I want to start, recording these and sharing them with people? What kind of gave you the idea to jump in and start doing that?
So I think it's basically, so I was obsessed with planning my Disney trips, and like
Hmm.
particularly Disney World. I would spend like 2 years planning, and I loved it. And then
Yeah.
you'd get all of these tips and advice, and then every trip you'd have would be a dream because
Yeah.
they really work.
Yeah.
And then I was in 2018, I was out in Orlando, and obviously when you're out there, you bump into people. And I was chatting to this lovely couple who were on their honeymoon, and they were having a great time. But then they
Mm,
were saying stuff like, "Oh, all of our restaurants, like we couldn't get any reservations for them, and oh, we waited like 2 hours to get on this ride." And I felt so bad that
mm,
because they just didn't have the access to the information, they
yeah.
weren't having as good experience as they could have had. And where it was such a special trip, I was like, "Oh no, that's such a shame."
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so yeah, so when I came back, I originally started making like little planning templates and guidebooks because this
Hmm.
also happened around pandemic time when I started doing that. And
Right.
obviously the rules were completely different. So if
Yeah.
you'd been, it was all different.
Yeah.
Like you needed to
Yeah.
know the new thing. And then eventually my friends were like, "Oh, maybe you should do videos instead of just like written stuff because you could physically show people." And I was like,
Yeah.
actually, that makes sense. And
Mm.
yeah, it just happened like that. And it's one of those weird things. I didn't kind of go into it thinking I'm going to just say a lot of tips and advice, but I think just it was naturally what came out because I was like, "Oh, this is how I did this." And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's been lovely ever since.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so nice to have such a broad community of creators whose primary intent is helping other people have a nice time. So, like, I watch, like a lot of people, like the Adam Hatton vlogs because I find him and Gary C
Yes,
entertaining all day long, and I could just watch them.
amazing, so fun.
I could just watch them sell tap water. But what's really good
Yeah.
about that is obviously he's an ex cast member because he did his program, and he has a lot
Yes.
of really useful information. And so you get that kind of double whammy of like, it's scratching that itch of me not being there right now. So I get to watch someone else. He's an entertaining and friendly person anyway. And I'm sitting there with my notepad thing on my phone out because he's constantly chucking out interesting stuff or things that I think will be useful. And it's a really good
Exactly
marriage
right.
of that stuff. Yeah. I mean, like,
Yes. And that's what I think is so nice
yeah.
is there's so many different people that vlog now, but everyone has their own like special take on things. And I think what's great is you will always find people that you really vibe with. And then you're like, "Oh my God, like that's how I would visit the park." And that's so nice.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I try and um, showcase when we go now that I vlog is the disability accessibility side of things because my
Yes.
wife's in a powered wheelchair, my daughter is on the autism spectrum, so and I found that a lot of vlogs, not through being exclusionary, but if people just don't have those issues, they're not necessarily going to
Yeah.
cover them on a regular basis. And I think it's is
So true.
an important thing to show because we then went to search out whilst we were planning other vloggers that were dealing with that sort of stuff because how to book your
Yes.
disability access services if you're doing it from the UK, not as straightforward as you would
Yeah.
think, and it can be a
No,
little
exactly.
yeah, and it can be a little overwhelming wondering what to do in terms of like how you approach
Yes.
getting to the airport and on the plane and what is and isn't Disney World going to facilitate and things like that. So like you say, there are people out there who do that, and then if that's your vibe, you find that. Some people just really like the kind of
Yes.
glamorous, heavily edited travel package type
Yes.
things. Some people really like the more kind of
Yep.
down to earth. Again, the Adam Hatton's kind of, I'm just going to turn this on and you're going to come with me on my day and what happens, happens and that kind of thing.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
it's really nice that there's that,
Yes.
that breadth of stuff out there. And it is, I think it can be a little daunting when you decide that you're going to start doing the vlogging thing, I think, because it is such a broad,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there doing it now.
Yes.
I think
Yes,
almost
absolutely.
I wouldn't say necessarily to the detriment, but I think some of the things that we're seeing implemented in the parks now might be in some way related to that. Things like restrictions on using buses and things like that. I think are
Yes.
in part due to some of the influencer content creator kind of thing that's going on.
Yes.
But it's really really nice
100%.
to see. And yeah, I always said even if no one else watches it, at least I've got these home videos. This is my version of wearing the big VHS
exactly that.
camcorder thing. I'm going to go back and watch them again in a few years, even if no one else is. But obviously, you've built up quite a
Exactly, and that's the thing.
yeah, yeah. You've built up quite a following
So
now,
that's
haven't you? Yeah. Sorry, we're speaking over each
no,
other. I'm
it's
gonna.
been so lovely. I'm so sorry.
No, no, no. It's me. I can waffle for days. But yeah, sorry, you were saying.
No, it's a dream. But yes, no, it's so nice that like you said, when you first start out, you're like anyone watching is a dream. And it's
Mm,
so nice over the years as you get to like know people, and now I've got like friends all around the world, and
yeah.
it's so lovely, and it's such an unexpected side effect. Like I genuinely thought if this video can help someone in some way, amazing. And I never ever envisioned that you'd end up getting to know so many people, and it's like the
Right.
nicest thing.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like minds. It's people who are you can do that thing where you're able to just talk at them about the thing that you're really, really in love with, and not worry about the eyes glazing over.
Exactly.
Like, so have you got
Yes,
like,
1,000,000% that.
yeah, I don't know about your kind of your like personal circle, like your friends and family and stuff. I don't know if you have many other of the kind of Disney adults in your immediate circle, but for me, you know, I've got like my wife, who even I think I test her limits
Yeah.
sometimes, and then outside of that, I don't really have anyone else in the real world, you know, who's kind of into it like I am. So, and you know, it's nice hearing for about 10 minutes about someone's holiday after they've been, but generally after that, you're a bit like, all right, let's move on a little bit. So,
Yes.
it
It's so true.
so what's nice is when you generate your own platform a little bit, and like you say, you kind of get to have these conversations. The reason I do this, and you know, is because I get to just chat nonstop about this thing that I'm
Yes.
absolutely obsessed with. So, I mean, do you have many people in your like circle, or is it more of a your online thing and your meetups and things like
Yes.
that?
Yeah, I think mostly the people I know are mostly online. Like I do have like I've got a cousin who also really likes Disney, and she's now got kids, and
Oh,
it's
perfect.
terrible because I literally every single Christmas, every single birthday, they're getting Disney presents. The worst thing she did was the baby she called Daisy, and now everything she gets is Daisy Duck.
Daisy
I'm
Duck.
like, I don't
Yeah,
think you thought this through.
yeah.
And
You,
but
yeah,
it's mostly online, and it's just like you say, it's so nice to find your tribe and you can connect
yeah.
with them.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's really, really lovely. And something that I think I want to kind of try and do a little bit more of when I've done a few more, had some more guests and things like that. And I know that there's content creator meetups and things that happen. So I think I need to maybe try and wade into that pool a little bit and just get out there and actually, spend some time chatting to people in the real world as well. Because I find that
Yes, it's the
I'm
best.
generally less grumpy in Disney World anyway, but like I've become quite the hermit. I'm the grouchy old man in the real world now. Like, just leave me alone in my room. I don't want to talk to anybody. But you get me talking about Disney or in Disney World, and I will absolutely chat your ear off forever. So it'd be nice to kind of go out and do
That's the
those
thing,
things, I
isn't
think.
it?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm the same. Like, I'm very introverted. I'm at home. I
Yeah.
work from home. You don't
Okay.
really see anyone, but then all of a sudden you get to chat to all your Disney people, and it's the best.
This is it. This is it.
Yes.
So you've done Paris, you've done Florida, you've done you've done LA as well?
California.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, which is the dream. So good, so
Yeah.
good. But the
um,
Asian parks are on the bucket list.
right. Yes.
They've
well,
got to be done.
this is
I
what I was
need
going
to
to ask
go.
you. What's at the very top of the bucket list? What's the next one that you're going to tick off, do you think?
Would love to do a trip where you do all three of the Asian parks in one. I think
Right.
that would be the dream. And I
Yeah.
think the downside is the thing that kind of held me back is where I'm vegan, it's very hard to eat vegan there.
Right.
I think it's
Yeah.
getting better, but I've always been like, oh, people are like, you just have to take loads of food in your case. But I know if I'm hungry, I'm not having a good time.
Yeah,
So I'm like, let's wait,
absolutely.
because even if there's a handful of options and you can alternate them, fine.
Mm,
Don't need like a million options.
yeah.
But also, I'm gonna need to have all of the money because the merchandise looks unbelievable.
Yeah. 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 That's paying for an extra case on the way
Problem.
back type stuff, isn't it? Yeah. How do you find
100%, and it's so much cheaper. And then I'm like, well, that's a double whammy of badness because now I'm
Yeah.
gonna buy everything.
Yeah, I'm going to spend even more, even though it's technically costing me less per item. So that, because all that
Exactly
does is
that.
mentally you end up justifying even more. I'm awful for it. If something's on sale and I'm like, oh, well, that
Yep.
means I can get both of these things, which is ultimately more than I would have spent if I'd spent one. Yeah, I think
It's so
the Asian parks look phenomenal and it would be lovely to go. But like you say, I think veganism as a movement hasn't quite cracked it over there just yet.
yes.
I wanted to
Yes.
talk to you a little bit about this because I we were a vegan family for about 8 years, and we unfortunately, the cognitive dissonance won when I was in Florida last year. We won't go on about it. But
Yeah.
how have you found the food in Paris, in the parks in Paris? Because I remember when we went, the few times that we were there and we were kind of doing the vegan lifestyle, it seemed a little thin on the ground for us, but obviously you've got a lot more experience with that. How do you find it in general?
Luckily, the past couple of years they've really improved, but it took a long time because, like you say, I mean, for most of the time it was literally just a dry salad and fries for basically the whole time the park was open. And
Yeah,
then literally the past couple of years, now every single quick service and table service restaurant owned by Disney will have an
an
option.
option.
The only thing
Oh,
that
that's good.
is quite not great is snacks. Don't really
Mm,
get snacks,
no,
but it's so nice now because you've got a variety of choices, and it also makes it easier because if you're visiting with people that aren't vegan, you don't have to go, we can only eat in 2 restaurants. Like, you can go anywhere,
yeah.
which is nice.
Yeah, well, you're not just making a beeline to that little vegan cart at the back of Walt Disney
Yeah,
Studios anymore,
exactly that.
which
And
was a
they've even
lovely
got rid
little
of that,
cart.
which is outrageous. Yes,
Oh
exactly.
my, I
So
wasn't
that no
aware.
longer exists. I'm like, they're like, we've got too many options now. We don't need that anymore.
Yeah, you have been spoiled with your modern
Yeah,
lifestyle.
it's exactly that.
I mean, that's
It's
great.
so true.
I'm really glad there's an uptick. Like I say, we're taking a year off Florida next year, and we're going to bank our DVC points to go for a mega trip in 2028. But we can't go that long without a Disney trip, so we will be
Same.
going to Paris, and we
Oh,
have
fantastic.
other
Yes.
dietary requirements outside of the veganism. So it will be nice to know that they've
Yes.
kind of made a bit more of a shift there. So yeah, obviously we want to check out Disney
Yes.
Adventure World and everything else when that happens. So
Amazing. That'd be
you've been
so
and done that,
nice.
right? The new
Yes,
bits.
I was so lucky. I went to the last pass holder preview, which I was so lucky because there was a lot of problems with the pass holder previews. So I'm going
Okay.
into it hearing everyone going, "Oh my God, it's horrendous. It's just really long wait." And I was like,
Yeah.
"Ah." And I was so lucky because the day I went, it rained. So I think a lot of the local pass holders were like, "This is
Cleared
terrible
out.
weather, don't go."
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. And World of Frozen itself is stunning. It's really,
Yeah.
really beautiful. It's really beautiful. And this kind of annoyed people when I said this, but I was like, it feels like an American level of theming of a land. Because I
Right.
feel like sometimes in Disneyland Paris, like their Toy Story Playland
Yeah.
compared to like Toy Story Land at Disney World, there's a difference in the
Sure.
like
Yeah.
quality. And whereas I was like, this could fit in an American park.
Wow. High praise.
So
Yeah, the
good.
French wouldn't like you saying that. I can
Yes.
get why they'd.
No.
But no,
Yes. It's like,
that's
how
really
dare
good
you?
to know. That's really good to. I mean, I love the Frozen Ever After ride. It's nice that that's another one that's been kind of
Yes.
transplanted. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think there was definitely some people who held the opinion for a while that Paris was kind of the forgotten park a little bit, or the one that got the least amount of attention or love, or when it came to sort of innovations and things like that. So it's been really nice to see over the past couple of years this real push to kind of bring it
Yes.
in line with a lot of the other parks and make it a destination again, perhaps for people who haven't been for a little while. There's a
Yes.
lot of stuff over there to be excited for now. Obviously, like Avengers Campus was kind of the big thing before that. Now they've got World of Frozen. There's going to be the Lion King ride opening. I think they've got several other things kind of on the horizon now as well. So it's really, really cool to be going.
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, and I sent you this ahead of time, was in terms of Paris versus Florida, do you think there are things that they could learn from each other? Or are there things that the French parks could take from the American parks and vice versa, in your opinion?
I think what's interesting is I think something Disneyland Paris do super, super, super well are their shows and parades and like the
Yeah.
nighttime shows.
Yeah.
And this new format of parade that they've been doing, where you have the traditional Main Street parade, but then you get to the castle hub and there's a full show,
Mm.
is unbelievable. I think they're
Yeah.
the best parades I've seen in any Disney park. And I
Wow.
think that could be really, really fun for Disney, especially because, like, Magic Kingdom, that parade's been around for a really long time. And I get that if everyone's seen it online, they want to see it. But
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you've been a few times, you don't need to see it every trip because you're like, okay, I've seen this. Whereas when you have a little show as well, and it's all exciting, and every couple of years Disneyland Paris switch it up, love that.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. I
so
think
good.
you're absolutely right, because I think there's that sense of, and I had this recently in the past couple of weeks, there's that sense of you've seen it, you know, either in your prep or whatever else. And if you're going for the first time, you want to experience everything there is to experience. And I had this when they announced that the gingerbread house at Grand Floridian wasn't going to be coming back anymore, because we've only ever been during the Halloween season to Disney parks, which, don't get me wrong, love Halloween, love it. But I very, very, very much want to go when the Christmas stuff's out. We're really big into Christmas here.
Yes.
And, you know, even if we're going in November when they're just kind of kicking it all off, but you're still getting snow on Main Street and all of that kind of stuff, we really want to go. And obviously, that gingerbread house is iconic, you know, and I think it's a real shame they've taken it away. I understand why. It makes sense. But yeah, it's totally one of those things where you go, oh, I'm not going to get to do that now. I'm not.
I know. It is such a shame because it's been around for like 20 years, and you're like, God. And I know that they're saying, because obviously they've got this new like birdcage bar.
Yeah.
If they also put the gingerbread house and everyone visits, it'll be too busy. Yeah. And I'm like, we've already got another bar, so just get rid of the birdcage one. I know you've just brought it in, but bring back the gingerbread house.
Just close it down seasonally.
Bar.
Oh, yes, you're onto something there. Absolutely. Little, you know, little Christmas themed cocktails and a little gingerbread man in the top, you know, balancing.
Yeah, exactly.
We're on to Josh. I know you're listening, but yeah, we want to. I want to see some of this being actioned at D23, please. Sophie knows what she's talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, no,
that would be the dream, wouldn't it? How much fun!
Can you imagine? I do think there's something to that. There are certain staples where you kind of go like, oh, I would love to see that in person. And if it gets kind of whipped away, it is sad. However, you do have to get in that mindset of, you know, like Walt said, the park should never be finished. Things are always going to be changing. I think you mentioned this on Andy's podcast. What would be really lovely is if they did retro nights, you know, like an additional park ticket where they're bringing back classic shows, classic parades, characters that you don't necessarily see anymore, you know, and then all the old farts like me who, even though I didn't go when I was younger, but pined for that stuff, can go and still experience it. And again, you're going to make millions in ticket sales because, you know, Disney adults, they love their nostalgia.
So true.
And that's
the thing. I've recently been telling everyone they need to do, because obviously Carousel of Progress is updating, and like you say, it shouldn't be a museum. But I'm like, if they change that song, I mean, they're definitely going to have to update it. But I'm like, I'm already not happy about this. But I was like, as a compromise, what I will accept, Josh, is if you at least have like a retro line of merchandise. So, like, you could have Carousel of Progress, you could have Muppet Vision 3D,
Splash Mountain,
Dinosaur, Captain EO, Splash Mountain. If they had, like, an amazing line of, like, retro merch, I'd be all about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you go into places like, you know, when you go into Creations in Epcot, they do like to lean into the retro style, especially in Epcot. A lot of this kind of 80s style, you know, shirts and things, and the bold colors and the typefaces and stuff. So they are aware that there's a call for it. But yeah, bring back the old attractions in ornaments and shirts and everything else. And
yes,
again,
you imagine how good it would be.
Watch it roll in. Yeah, 100%. And I agree with you about the shows and things. It boggles me that they did a drone show in Disney Springs a couple of years ago. And I'm like, why are they not utilizing the drone shows in the park? Because the 30th drone show at Paris was, you know, mind-blowing stuff.
Yes.
I've not seen any of the newer bits and bobs other than some clips on YouTube, but I just think it adds such a wow factor. It feels so contemporary and modern.
It is.
It gets all the oohs and ahs going. And you know, I imagine it's not got the same cost as setting up all that pyro every night. So it's not like you're adding that much more expense on after the initial. You know, it seems odd that they've not really gone in for that yet. And I've not seen any reasoning online as to why they've not used it, because Paris does it so well.
The thing, because I was like, is it like is Magic Kingdom still a no-fly zone? Like, because that's the thing, you're like, there has to be some sort of reason, because it would be wild not to do it, because it's, like you say, it's so impressive.
Well, Tinkerbell flies every evening.
Going for, oh, yeah, exactly. That's so true, actually. That's a good point. What's she doing? Fine her immediately.
Yeah, where's her permit? Yeah.
The rule breaker. Yeah, exactly that. But yeah, it's so true. And I think something I've always found is like Disneyland Paris does seem to be like a testing ground for things for the other parks. So when they started doing drones, I was like, oh, I think in the long term they will go to Disney World. I hope they will come back. But even stuff like they started doing Premier Access, which was like the forefather of multipass, and it's
Sure.
interesting to see that kind of testing ground there.
Yeah, yeah. Who do you think? Do you think Paris does the fast pass queuing type thing better than Florida, or do you think there's a lot in it there?
Interesting, because I feel like it's a handy combination. I do like that you could buy the single rides, which I think
Yeah.
is really good, and it's much more affordable than single pass. But it's interesting because in Paris, obviously, it's either you buy the single ticket or it's really expensive, kind of like Universal, where it's hundreds of euro and it's for all of the rides. But what is nice is you don't have reservations, anything like that. You just turn up, waltz in, go on your ride. But it's that thing of like, unless you like all of the rides that are included,
Is it
I
worth it?
feel
Yeah.
like, yeah, 100%. So if there's anything that you don't particularly go on, like say you don't like coasters, it's literally pointless sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Multipass, it's got a nice variety of rides.
You can tailor it a lot more, can't you? And depending again
Yes.
on when you're going and how far in advance you're able to prep and everything. But yeah, there's a bit more flexibility there. I think I've only really used
Yes.
Multipass once personally, but that's because it was a solo day in the park. Typically, when I'm with my wife and daughter, we're using DAS for the most part, so we
Yes.
generally don't have to lean into that. But yes, I found that the multipass thing, especially on a quiet-ish day, can be really invaluable. I think it's interesting what you said about the universal model, because obviously that's wildly different to the way Disney does it, and
Yes.
they price it out. It is very expensive, I think, unless you're staying in one of their like deluxe hotels. But it's wonderful
Yep.
because again, you're on your own time. You're not looking at
So
the
good.
clock. You're not worrying about
Yes.
running over or anything else. And
Yep, exactly that.
that's a model that seems to really, really work for them. So I don't know if,
Yes.
I mean, the Premier
Yeah.
Pass, I think it is in Disney World, is similar. Well, it's very expensive, but then you only
Yes.
get to ride once, and
It's the
that was a point of
problem, isn't it?
contention. Yeah,
Because the
yeah,
Universal one, when you have the unlimited one, especially like you say, if you stay at the hotels and you get it, you could go on any of the rides you want as many times as you want, which is
yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah. You can just
And
loop
like you
around Men
say,
in Black all
if
day
with
long.
yeah, exactly that. And then what's like crazy, like you say about Premier Pass, it's like 10 times the price of Multi-Pass, but you can only do each ride once, but you just don't have to have a reservation. So you're like,
Yeah,
that's a lot of money for that
yeah.
privilege.
It
And you
really
can't
is.
park hop with it either.
That's right. You have to choose a particular park, which again, I'm just
Yes,
like, at
which
this
is
point, if I'm,
crazy.
because I think it's up there in the kind of $400 mark for Magic Kingdom in season, which is just
Yep,
like per person. So if you've got a family of
wild.
four,
Yes,
oh my goodness, the fact that you're
ridiculous.
spending,
Yes,
yeah, absolutely bananas. And then you can't then go over to Epcot or whatever with it as well.
yeah,
Bananas. But
it's
it's one of
mad.
those little trends at the moment that we're kind of hoping gets addressed at some point. We shall see. We don't really know.
Yes,
But money talks. So I think if people aren't using it, they'll address it and do something else with it. I also wanted to ask you if you could take, going back to talking about transplanting Frozen Ever After and things like that, if you could take one attraction from each park and drop it into the other one, what would it be? What would you take
oh,
from
that's such a good
France?
question. It's such
What would
a
you
good
take from
question.
France and
Well, do you
put into
know
the
what?
States?
I was really thinking about this, and it's actually a ride that I don't go on because it makes me feel sick.
Okay.
But I genuinely think people would love Crusher's Coaster
Just
in
coaster.
Epcot.
As soon as you said it makes me feel sick, I knew the exact one that you were on about. I love that
So
ride, but every time I come
funny.
off it, I'm like, Dramamine.
This is the thing. So I went on it with a friend. She like convinced me to go on it, and there was 4 adults, and it wasn't that bad. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I've been worrying for no reason. So we went on it again, like fools, and we were 3 adults and 1 child, and because of that, the weight was completely off, and it
So
spun and spun and spun. And I was like,
yeah.
this is the worst thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that it's marketed as a family coaster, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I suppose it is, but it's kind of more thrilling than you're expecting it to be. But I think it's
yeah.
nice to have a kind of another coaster in Epcot. Well, I would say it's not as intense as Guardians, but I've not been on Guardians either because of sickness.
Okay. Guardians is a weird one because it's a controlled spin on that because they're pointing you towards projections that are happening. So you are going like that on a
Yes.
track, but you're not freewheeling like you feel you are on Crush's coaster. It's not determined
Yes.
by,
Do you feel fine on Guardians?
Yeah, I'm all right on Guardians, but I will say this.
Interesting.
So I went on the waltzers when I was about 10 years old after having a big hot dog and a Pepsi, and then just spent the rest of my evening violently vomiting and sort of swore off thrill rides for the longest time until I did Hyperspace Mountain at Paris. And then I went, I love roller coasters.
Love it.
However, the last time we went, I went on Expedition Everest, which I've ridden 5 or 6 times before that, and I came off it and I had to sit with my head between my knees for about 10 minutes. And I don't know what it was.
Yes.
I don't know if I was just feeling like some heat stroke or just over 40 now, maybe. I don't know. But like that really kicked me in the pants, that one.
It?
Yeah.
Yes, because I used to never, ever, ever get motion sick. And now I get quite motion sick. And it's horrible because you're like, all the rides I used to like, you can't go on anymore. And like, I'd love to go on Guardians. But as well as being motion sick, I also have a metaphobia. So I'm absolutely terrified of feeling sick, being sick.
Oh, I'm sorry for talking about.
If I didn't have that, I'd chance it. No, it's all good. But I think if I didn't have that, I'd take the Dramamine and see how I felt. But because I'm so worried about I will have to end everything. I can't cope. This is the worst thing that could possibly happen to me.
Yeah,
that's why I'm so scared to go on it. And it'll be one of those things. I'll go on it and I love it.
Yeah, I think you'll be okay. The tip I would give you is find a fixed point. So there's a point in the I'm sure you've watched ride POVs and things, but there's a point where you're going around a planet. If you just stare at that fixed point, you'll have to turn your head a little bit as your carriage is moving, but that will absolutely keep you in line. I think you will be absolutely fine, and you'll be so glad that you did it because it's a wonderful ride. I mean, maybe skip Mission Space Orange. No one needs that in their life, but
can't bear it. Horrendous.
Any ride where they're putting little bags inside the ride for you is like that's a red flag for me.
This is the thing, isn't it? You're like, that's not a good sign. Yeah.
No. Yes. No, the fact that this has happened enough that you're having to, and there's extra bins as well, and they're not the flappy ones, they're the open top ones. We know why you've done that, Disney. Exactly. We know why.
And I feel so sorry. Whatever those cast members that are waiting at the end of the ride are getting paid, they need like 3,000 times more because it must be horrendous.
Some
just
danger pay.
Just watching loads of people be sick all day. Yeah,
just coming out grey. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Crush's Coaster, I think that's a great pick because my hot take is The Sea with Nemo and Friends is a pretty trash ride, if I'm honest with you. I like an Omnimover. I like a Little Mermaid. Haunted Mansion's one of my absolute favourites of all time. The Sea with Nemo and Friends bores the life out of me, if I'm honest. It feels like a real weak ride. It doesn't. The fact that I'm just looking at projections of CGI fish and an aquarium at the end. Like, I'm excited to get into Seabase afterwards. I love that area. Show me a manatee and a seahorse, and that's all great. That ride, So if you were to somehow magically just whip that one out and then plonk a Crush's Coaster, and I'm sure it is that simple. Yes. But I think you've got a solid choice then. So what would you do the other way around? What needs
good?
What needs to come from Florida?
Well, just to be selfish, I love Tron, and I would just be like, so I can ride it without having to fly all the way to Florida.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
then seeing how long it took them to build it in Orlando, and seeing how long it takes them to build anything in Disneyland Paris, I'll be about 80 before that would open.
You'd be in the buggy at the back just for mobility reasons.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
It's been such a successful ride. Like the hype about it, and then the general queue times. It surprises me a little bit that they haven't announced it for there, to be honest with you. But I think that would be you're right. It is selfish, but I think it's a good pick, and it would certainly get a lot of attention. Yeah. Did you manage to ride it when it was in Aries mode?
Nice. Yes, and oh my god, it was so much fun. I loved it, and it was so nice to have a new storyline as well as the new colours. Like, it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really, really cleverly done, I thought. Yeah. And I was glad, again, like a limited time thing, which is, that always strikes me as odd because so much effort must go into that. Even for something as simple as changing the colours and writing the new story and stuff, it's not, you're not kind of rebuilding track, but like effort's gone in there, and to kind of go like, we're doing this for like 2.5 months and then it will go back to normal and you'll never see it again. It is like so weird. I'm like, why are you not bringing this back on event nights and things? Yeah.
That would be so good. Because like you said, they're ready to go. They know what they're doing. So just bring it
just
back. That'll be so
switch it on and
fun.
off. Yeah, surely there's an Aries button back there somewhere. Someone just needs to push it every now and again. Because that'd be great as well if it was random. If you didn't know whether you were getting Aries or
Could
not.
you imagine? That would be so good. That would be so fun because it's that element of like surprise of being like, what's it going to be this time? And I think that is something that is really cool about Guardians. Like, you don't know what the song's going to be.
Yeah.
People deliberately go on it again so they can see how many songs they can get. So they need to start doing this for Tron. Just keep mixing it up.
Absolutely. I assume that's going to be a similar thing for Rock and Roller Coaster with all these new Muppets tracks as well, because you're getting a random one. Yeah. Have you been this year? I know you said you're going January next year.
No. So I haven't. And the thing is, Rock and Roller Coaster used to be like my favourite coaster, but now it makes me motion sick. This is my life.
Yeah.
Which is horrendous. But I'm tempted to kind of do the queue and then do the chicken exit, which is horrendous. I've never done the chicken exit in my life, but I really want to see the queue.
No one's going to judge you.
So
You're all good.
Suck it up. No, exactly.
Absolutely.
Or maybe you'll just have to try and see how it goes and hope for the best.
Absolutely. Just believe in yourself. Like, you know, they have normal bins outside the Rock and Roller Coaster, so you'll be fine.
Exactly.
Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and again, this is me kind of selfishly like snaggling some tips and things. So when we go this year, we are taking my daughter's best friend and her family along with us, and they haven't been before. Right. So I'm super excited because the next best thing after going to Disney World for the very first time is taking someone for the very first time and getting to experience it through them.
Absolutely.
It's such a treat. Have you done that before? Have you taken someone on their first time before?
Not to Disney World, but I've been with people to Disney Paris. And again, like you say, it's that thing of like when you're walking in, you're not even looking at the castle, you're looking at their face to see what they think of the castle and stuff like that. And it's so lovely.
Yeah. It's great. So what I wanted to ask you was, if you're taking someone to Walt Disney World for the very first time, what do I need to make sure they don't miss? Like if you were taking someone and it was their very first experience and you've got 2 weeks so you can plan, you can prep. It's not like we've got 24 hours to see everything, but what are the hits? What are the things that you need to make sure they see? What are the things that people might not necessarily think about that you think, oh, you should go and check this out?
I think this is such a good question. And one of my favourite things that I do is I think if you've seen Happily Ever After from the front and you've seen the projections, you most likely have had not the most enjoyable experience because it's cramped and there's kids so you can't see anything. If you then go behind the castle into Fantasyland on a different night, you don't see the projections, but you get the music, you get the fireworks, but you're also like inside the fireworks because they're going up 360 degrees around you.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I think there's no one around, like nobody kind of really hangs out and goes there. And you also have the added benefit is afterwards, all of the rides in that sort of area. So Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Haunted Mansion, no queue.
Wow.
So you have the added benefit of just going in the park and there's no one there. And it's just so magical when you're just spinning around and you're like, oh my God, like there's fireworks everywhere. And it's so impressive.
Oh, I'm going to definitely make sure I do that this time. That sounds wonderful. I don't know if this is like a Mandela effect, but I'm sure I'd read somewhere or seen somewhere that on occasion Disney princesses will come out and be on the carousel and things and experiencing the fireworks at the same time as well. That needs verifying, but I'm certain I've read that or seen on a DFB or something like that there's Snow might come out and she'll ride the carousel with kids whilst the fireworks are on and then they'll come out and just dance a little bit whilst the music's so I mean can you imagine being there doing that and then all of a sudden there's princesses there as well.
Absolutely ridiculous. Well, this is something I want to try for my next trip because I've heard similar, but in the morning. So apparently at about 9:45 in the morning, lots of the characters ride Dumbo.
Yes.
So I'm going to try and see if I can catch this because I'm like, that sounds so much fun, just seeing everyone and waving at them and just flying around. And it's so fun when you have like these little unexpected things, which is so good.
Yeah. They always end up being the best parts of the holiday. And I think like you're like me, 100%. You spend months planning in advance and, you've got all your reservations, which rides you're going to do in terms of priority. You've got everything planned down to the nth degree. So the bits that end up being magical are those moments that you haven't planned, those little surprises.
Exactly.
And it's just absolutely wonderful. I mean, we got pixie dusted to heaven and back last time we were there. And so many magical little things happened that we hadn't planned for, we did not expect or ask for. And it was just wonderful.
Yes.
I've told the stories a few times on sort of previous vlogs and things, but just, I was doing 4 parks in one day. And I hadn't decided to do this till 2 in the afternoon, which was a terrible idea, but I was just like, it's solo day.
I love that.
Why not?
Do it.
So, so I was in Animal, and this was the day I was in Animal Kingdom at like 4 p.m. and I'd gone on Pandora in like 15 minutes, and I came out and I went, I've never had a Mickey ice cream bar. I'm going to go get one. And there's a little food stand just as you're walking out of Pandora. And I said, I would like my first ever Mickey ice cream bar, please. And got my card out ready to pay. And she went, you've never had one before? And I said, no, this will be my first ever. And she went, well, in that case, sir, it's on the mouse. And she just slid it across to me. And it was
so nice.
And it was magical. And I know there were people that listen to it and go like, yeah, so you got a free ice cream. And I'm like, no, that's not it. I didn't expect that. She didn't have to do that. And it's just this microcosm of like these things that these people will do, not because it earns them any sort of bonus or commission, not because that they've been told to do it as a directive from their line manager, but just because they've seen you and they want to make your day that little bit more special. And that's going to stay with me forever. And we've got like multiple memories of things like that happening, and you can't plan for them. They just happen. It's really, really lovely. So I'm looking forward to things like that happening again, and not freebies, but yeah,
exactly that.
Have you got
even stuff like strangers that you meet in the park?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, I think, because everyone's in such a good mood to be there, but you have these amazing moments. Like I remember the first time I went on Tron, I was super lucky because the group in front of me were 3 people, and 2 of them got put in the last row of the train that was just pulling in. So it meant the man with them was on his own. So he was front row, and then I was just next to him. So I got front row first ever time on Tron.
Yeah.
And he was someone that rides motorbikes. So he was telling me, oh my God, this genuinely what it feels
like a bike. Yeah.
And then we were like, exactly. So I was like, this is so fun. And then as we were taking off to get to the launch, we were like, okay, what pose are we doing? So we like coordinated a pose together, and it was so lovely. And it's something like you will always remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Stuff like that's fantastic. I was riding Guardians at one point, again on a solo day, and there was a mum and a daughter, and they were in front of me, and the mum had never been on the ride before, and she was terrified. She was clearly doing it because she loved her kid. And we were in the line for like 20 minutes, and we just got chatting. And I was like, oh, you're going to have a wonderful time. Don't worry about it. It's so much fun. The pre-show's really fun, and just like really hyping her up and bigging her up. I was like, you're going to have a great time. Anyway, off they went on a different vehicle to me, and I saw them directly afterwards when they came off, and she was just beaming ear to ear, and she walked over to him. She was like, it was so good. I think we're going to go on in it again. And we just sort of, did a little dance and cheered amongst ourselves. And then we went about our lives, never to see each other again. But it was just that little interaction that absolutely elevated the whole thing. So yeah, unplanned
so
magic.
true, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know anywhere else that you get that to the same level.
No, even stuff like I love on the People movie, the tradition of waving at people on the one that's coming past you.
Yeah.
Because in normal life, you don't wave at people. It'd be really weird if you're on a train just waving at people. But in Disney, it's wonderful.
It's the done thing. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly that. It's so true.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Sophie. This has been so nice. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to come and chat, and just, again, let me absolutely go wild with talking Disney nonsense with someone else who gets it. It's always a really, really great time.
Yes. It's been such a joy.
Thank you. Where can everyone find you? Where do they need to go online to find all of your stuff?
I am on YouTube as Most Magical Guides, and I'm also on Instagram at most.magical.guides. Very unhelpful.
Yeah, but
and then I also have my own website, which is mostmagicalguides.com, and there I have planning services. So if you need any help planning your own trip, that's where you can find it all.
Yeah, if you're not a nutter like me and you actually find it quite a stressful thing to do, Sophie is absolutely the person to go to, because she will help you just untangle all of that horrible, weird red corkboard stuff that's going on and get you what you need to get. So yeah, go and check all of that stuff out. If you're not already, you probably are if you're listening to this. So yeah, thank you again ever so much, Sophie. It's been a real pleasure. And yeah.
Thank you for having me. It's been so much fun.
And as usual, if you enjoyed what you heard / saw, it would be great if you could tell people about it. If you know other people who are into Disney like we're into Disney, let them know that the channel exists. We're on Spotify, we're on YouTube and everything else. On Instagram, Oh No Disney Adults. A subscribe, a share, a like. It all means the world in growing the channel. So thank you very much. And we will see you again on the next episode of Oh No Disney Adults. Bye. Epic. That's been great.